What's up guys, it's the Devil's Talon here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how you can dominate DreamHack duos by analyzing the NA East winners of the most recent DreamHack, and that is NRG Clix, an all-time great, and Deyy, an up-and-coming controller player for Endless. But before I get into this analysis, guys, if you do enjoy my content or find what I'm telling you helpful, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. But without further ado, let's just jump right in. Alright guys, as you can see on the screen, we have Deyy's POV. What I'm going to do for this particular VOD review is I'm going to analyze their best individual games from the Opens, semifinals, and finals round. This particular game is an Opens game, 24 kill victory royale. So we're gonna just take a look at all of their individual engagements, and this first portion is really going to be mainly a W keying clinic. You're going to see Deyy here. He's going to land early on this particular llama, which is really going to be good. It's going to give him a significant mat advantage, and now you're going to see what they're going to end up doing early on. You're going to notice this opponent is basically alone, and they can create a pinch. So Clix basically drives over fast. Deyy having those significant amount of mats. What Clix ends up doing is he ends up tapping fire this particular opponent, but he gets gas cans knowing that this opponent is in the basement. What ends up happening is Deyy is going to end up getting good piece control right here. Cone sliding, they create an immediate pinch and get in early on frag. However, this is their only early frag. They absolutely pop off in mid game and late, as you can see early on in this. Unfortunately, Deyy getting sniped here, but we're going to kind of skip on forward here. Alright, Clix and Deyy are in the truck. They have gotten the slurp truck, leaving Pleasant Park going towards Salty. They get sniped at. They initiate this fight. Nice block out from Deyy. It's kind of slow playing right now. Not really jumping in too aggressive. Notice how he blocks off his side walls there. He does get that wall and immediately jumps to a right-hand peek as well. Kind of spraying through on his own. Nice, gets a good crack off shield right here. Kind of chokes his shots, but the guy kind of comes right into him. Let's take a look at Clix. And now they're playing much more tighter in this particular situation, just because you don't want to get isolated as a duo. Clix trying to get some piece control, eats a little bit of damage. Clix having some good reload management here early on. Deyy ends up getting in the box together. They get a nice cone slide and get a pinch and end this fight pretty quickly. Not much to say. Deyy, just good awareness of where that opponent's duo was, blocking off that side so he could really focus and isolate that solo. Notice he didn't make insanely aggressive plays as a solo, which is really key. Sometimes as a duo you can overextend trying to get a kill, and it ends up getting you in trouble. Let's move on here into this next particular engagement. You're going to see Clix in this, push this duo. Deyy sitting on one wall. Clix is going to be spamming from the side. Notice how they create a pinch of swords. Clix is going to go in and get some nice good chip damage. And then what it's going to end up happening, Deyy is going to apply a good amount of pressure. And then the duo is going to link up, and it's the same thing's going to happen. Pinch is created on separate walls. Deyy has this wall. Clix has this wall. And what ends up happening is Deyy goes in and ends up cleaning both of those kills pretty quickly, and that is due to the quick pinch. They're coming at different angles and thus far have not extended overall as a solo. They have made sure to play pretty passive and wait till the other one is in close vicinity to help. Notice Deyy immediately going on a right-hand peek in that particular engagement, and then immediately spraying through once Clix got there. They're now pushing this solo opponent, but what's going to end up actually happening here, this opponent is going to end up, I believe, getting inlated. Let me go back here just a tad bit. Apologize. They end up pushing the solo opponent because they just finished eliminating his duo. Notice Clix, immediately that pinch is already getting set up here. Gets the nice cone piece control. Nice cone slide attempt, doesn't get through. Does catch him with cone slide, but misses the shot. But what ends up happening here is just the same type of deal. We'll just watch it a little bit back from Clix's POV. But Clix ends up kind of, again, doing the same type of feel. Deyy is on one side, gets a nice little crack, sprays through, and then they just kind of meet in the middle. And an immediate shake. Notice they're shaking together as well. This opponent ends up eventually disengaging. We're going to go to Deyy's perspective. Deyy's pace is really, really good. He's following his opponent who is deciding to crystal away. But what ends up happening here, his opponent is crystalling away, and then he notices one sitting in the dirt right here. This guy gets full box, but I really like this decision. Doesn't go for that window peek because it can sometimes be 50-50. Good attempt at a full box, but right there going on that outside wall to give him a right-hand peek. Clix is going to end up picking him off. And we can kind of just watch this back for Clix POV. Notice using a ton of AR pressure, not taking out the pickaxe too much. He pickaxe baits right there. Again, no attempt at the wall take. Trying to spray through together. And then they play this extremely tight when they get in these kind of solo situations where it's a 1v2 because they don't want to essentially get picked off as a solo. Let's just take a look and see what Clix does here. That's going to allow him to get these frags as well. Deyy doing a good job of pressuring that opponent. Deyy is chasing him. Oh, Clix with a beautiful cone. Recognizes where he's going to go. And then cracks this individual opponent as well. Good reload management from this particular engagement. Make sure he gets his finish. And then notice he gets immediately to Deyy, and then they kind of just play very, very tight together. There's no chance in this particular situation. And then gets a right-hand peek peanut butter and ends the fight quickly. Switch over to Deyy's POV. We're going to go into the next particular engagement. I don't believe there's too much action between there and there. Alright, so these guys are going into Lazy. Deyy is kind of crouched, walking around. They're waiting on towards edge zone. They're clearly keying already a significant amount of kills. They're pushing them with bouncers, doing a good job of pressuring with the AR. They make these guys eventually get out. Clix goes in and gets a humongous crack with his charge using the bouncer. Good cone slide. And you're gonna know exactly, we're gonna see exactly the same type of thing happens here. Is we're gonna take a look from Clix's perspective and rewatch that particular engagement because he's really the catalyst as to why that ended so quickly. He gets that opponent off near 0 HP. Does a great job of pressuring here this car. He bouncers, and it's a really, really good bouncer. A good crack, and he gets a head dink with the scar. Charge scar is really strong. He gets another tap. And it's going to be the exact same thing. Tons of AR pressure cone slides. He gets them to basically come up. Imago classics. And then notice it's a pinch, right? Deyy and Clix are looking together, and that guy's sandwiched between them. There's almost no chance. There's pretty much a 0% chance that that opponent makes it out alive in that situation. Even if he knocks one, he'll more than likely be knocked by the other one almost instantaneously. Let's kind of skip forward to the next particular engagement here in this open W key 20 bomb vest. They're kind of rotating, looking towards edge zone for teams rotating in. Deyy definitely getting more of the frags thus far, 7 to his name. Love this right here. This is going to be a great way to get some pre-fight damage. I don't know if he got sniped or from Clix or if someone else did. Using the AR to pressure, not Mitro Classics in. Beautiful. Does a great job of ending that fight extremely fast. That's kind of a solo pick-off, recognizing from the snipe. I'm not sure if Clix is the one who did it. But Clix ends up immediately popping a chili. Marks that the opponent's there. They get in the car together. Good recognition that the car is right there, because that's going to close the distance extremely fast. Clix showing off his Kovacs. Crying this lost puppy. And then Clix just takes a balloon battle. Not the most advised, but having a significant amount of hills, not the craziest or worst thing in the world. Fortunately, Clix is getting pressured here. He needs to get a big off quickly. Deyy is already pressuring kids on edge zone. He boxes up here, immediately goes into a right-hand peek, and doesn't commit to anything till Clix is there. Gets a nice little crack right here, getting that high ground. Immediately ducks back out of that right. He doesn't own any of that. So what does he do? He backs out. Spraying through with a scar. You're gonna see never really ever taking that pickaxe out. Metro Classics in. Beautiful. Ends the fight fast. See if Clix picked up any frags in that situation. I believe he did. Beautiful crack from Clix right here. Taking a little bit of storm, but he's on a chili. He's okay. Beautiful job right there. Gets on a right-hand peek, ends it, gets piece control, and we saw Deyy immediately end that fight. So good stuff. Clix is going to end up getting the next frag, so we're going to stay on his POV. You see a lot of pinching. What I love from Deyy that I see is he don't get me wrong, his pace is excellent, he's king, but he's just not overcommitting. His W king isn't brainless. He's staying in there, he's spraying with the scar. I don't think I've seen Deyy really attempt to pickaxe take this entire time. He is always spraying through with the scar. RPG pressure, as Deyy kind of gets up in these guys' face. Unfortunately, Clix right there kind of gets him out. Almost full boxes him. Look at this, it's just a beautiful pinch and just picking him isolated off. Let's just take a look at Clix's POV, see what he kind of did to just kind of snag that really, really fast. So he gets that RPG pressure. The opponent gets kind of isolated. I believe Deyy gets that piece control and they turn it into a cone. And they just kind of... You get that nice little 2v1. One kind of focuses on piece control, the other on shots. And boom, they get a nice, easy elimination early on. Let's kind of skip on forward to the next section. We're at about 50. We were about to see some more kills. Using the tap fire through. Clix ends up getting a solo pickup. This is kind of the only instance where they're not really playing together that I've seen. Beautiful, gets in, gets a knock right there. We're also going to take the back and look at Clix's POV after this. Good recognition that's in wood, and then using the purple tack to get in right there. Beautiful. And the opponent just kind of clueless right there. Deyy picks up 2 freebies. Let's just take a look at Clix's POV because he got absolutely, essentially fried in that. And I think this is going to be a perfect example of what can sometimes happen when you overextend as a solo. Gets cracked for 87 right here, and then he ends up getting third party. And notice where Deyy is nowhere near him, and now Clix is on this super duper scuffed lair, and they're kind of away from each other. Right, Clix doesn't end up getting any frags. Deyy ends up taking care of business pretty easily, like we have already watched. But that's just a good example of sometimes what ends up happening when you overextend in a solo. If you don't really play with your duo and play with your angles, you kind of go for a wall on a duo. It's kind of doing it again, right? Not really. Clix hasn't really... This gets really scuffed. And it's the same thing. He kind of gets isolated as a solo. The third party really benefiting him right there. Really fortunate. Deyy does a good job of playing solo, but I think he got the freebie on the kid in wood that was taking shield, the other person that was sniping at the other team. Notice Clix is, again, how split they are and how kind of scuffed this is. This would be probably their worst engagement from this WQ Fest. Deyy doing a good job, clutch up, getting those 2 important frags. And I believe he ends up getting Clix some floppers, and they end up making it out okay. Let's look at the next particular engagement. Right now, both are sitting at 17 frags. We know they finished with 7 more and a victory royale. They mark that this particular team on low, not caring about height. Still W key. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness, we're definitely take a look at that. RPG usage to get the piece control, and then both just immediately double shotgun. It's playing with your team at their best. Same exact type of thing. Using the RPG, one to kind of hold the build and get piece control. Trying to chase this particular individual. And Deyy immediately, once he realizes that he's getting sprayed a ton, immediately backs off from that. Let's just take a look at what and see from that previous usage, because that's a great example of playing as a duo. This particular frag is fantastic. It really demonstrates playing as a team and using power loot. You're going to see Clix fire off, Deyy get that piece control, Deyy opens up, and they insta-crack together. And absolutely dominating that particular opponent. And then you're going to see the same exact attempt right there. Not as successful this time. But we're going to look at Clix's POV for this particular engagement. Doesn't get tags as much. Same type deal. Doesn't really overcommit and do anything. I was a little bit scared jumping down there, not knowing if there's an opponent there. And notices these kids in wood, and that's always a good sign to push, especially in Endgame. They might be shambles. Mongrel Classic, the kid's not even looking. We don't know particularly what ends up happening here. I'm assuming another textbook example of a pinch. Let's just take a look. Maybe it won't be as laggy from Deyy's perspective. Looks like Clix picked up most of those eliminations. But good recognition there in wood, especially so powerful. Having that tack shotgun really damages wood extremely quickly, especially when it's just reset. It immediately creates a pinch right here, right? We don't know exactly what happened, but it looks like he ends up getting on that left side wall, and they ended up fragging out, ending that pretty quickly. They ended up making a play for height. They just got a refresh. Why wouldn't they crank for it? Oh my god. I don't know if that was all Deyy, but that was disgusting. That's just a great example of piece control. I would love to see. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Deyy, you're nasty. This was incredibly nasty from Deyy. This entire sequence is why Deyy is one of the best and upcoming controller players in the world. We're going to take just a good appreciation for what he did to these poor kids right here. And then we're going to take a look at Clix's POV as well. Let's slow it down to 50-50. Kind of retaking. They just got a huge refresh on mats. I believe Clix does get that cone, but then Deyy gets that cone right there. Ends up absolutely dominating this kid. And now be able to get everything that they need. Deyy goes up right here. Gets front wall. Cones him off. Cracks. Gets front wall. Cones him off again. Shoots out the wall. Goes to a nice right hand peek. And then Clix has already gotten from the top. Let's just take a look at from Clix POV. As he ends up, I believe, also contributing to this glorious piece control that we are seeing here. So he cranks up as well. Showing the mechanics. He does get that cone off. Beautiful. This is just PG Zone Wars right here, essentially. Gets a nice little crack, dropping him down. You saw Deyy absolutely working this kid. And then Clix gets the top GGs. That's, again, playing together. That is creative. I love this awareness from Clix right here as well. I don't know if it's just King, but Clix really showing the Kovac thing right there. I love him extending using those mats right there. Oh, that is not good. That's a horrible situation. He just kind of dropped down in, unfortunately. Fortunately, does have floppers. But this is really FFA Zone Wars, where you see Clix right there. Beautiful. Recognize that opponent's over peeking. Or just basically peeking wide out in the open. And this exactly looks like kind of a Zone Wars. But they have a good abundance of floppers. We're going to take a look at Deyy's perspective after this. Good attempt at piece control early. Takes a little bit of chip damage. Yep, there it is. It's two different angles, right? Two different pinch. Good movement, good edit. GG's. Let's just take a look at Damon's. I'm calling him Damon, but actually Endless Day. Let's take a look at his POV and those final engagements, see what ended up happening to him as well. Because this ended up kind of dragging out a little bit longer than they probably had wanted. But they do a good job of recovering. They ended up just finishing. Those kids, Clix is healing after getting a drop down in. And that's kind of the same thing, unfortunately, what ends up happening if you overextend as a solo. You ended up dropping down on a kill and not ended up being worth. Very fortunate to have those floppers. Nice little crack right there from Deyy. Spraying through, gets it, and then immediately creates, it's just an instantaneous just pinch. Right, they're both coming out right there. Clix and Deyy are just converging on people that are in the same location. They're staying in the same box. And it's a GG's. Just overall, from watching that particular gameplay, it is more than obvious to me that they have a great understanding of duos. One, they just constantly push angles. They just create these constant pinches, which end fights incredibly fast. And they do it very, very efficiently because usually they do not overextend as a solo and getting them picked off. We saw that Clix really had a tendency to do that just a couple of times, and with Clix being probably one of the most mechanically skilled players in the world, I'm sure he feels in these opens lobbies, of course, that he's going to be the best mechanically, the best just in there in general, and so probably makes just over aggressive plays at times, and you saw it nearly cost him twice. Deyy was a very composed in his W King. For being the controller player, he was very, very reserved, not psychoing in a lot of boxes. Most of his mutual classics were on opponents that were one tap, but overall, from this opens W King, the two biggest things I saw were how to master pinching opponents and how as a solo to not overextend most of the time, and to use your Scar to pressure walls, use your shotgun to pressure walls. When we were watching Deyy, I don't think I saw the entire, he never used his pickaxe to take a wall. Really impressive stuff from this duo. Now let's take a look at how they did in their best game in semis. Alright guys, as you can see on the screen, we have NRG Clix's POV. They're going to be landing Pleasant Park just like they did in opens, and this is going to be a second place performance with 10 eliminations to go with it. And we're going to take a look mainly at endgames, but we're honestly going to take a look at the fights off spawn if there is any in these finals and semifinals. Let's just take a look at this particular engagements. It's going to be Clix is on here, and you're going to see Deyy is over here as well. They end up getting into a build fight. Deyy ends up coding him, I believe, and Clix does a great job of applying pressure. And notice how they both kind of just double spray this guy. Clix tries to go for a chop. Unfortunately, you're going to see Deyy throw a gas can there, right there, but doesn't get it. But this is kind of a wide pinch, right? What you're going to see what ends up happening is Deyy goes for a wall, gets it, Deyy jumps on this guy's head. And then Deyy ends up finishing it together, and it creates a wide pitch. Let's just take a look at it from Deyy's perspective, kind of what ended up leading to that fight ending so fast. You're going to see right there, that's when Clix fries this particular opponent. They immediately double spraying this guy because they're trying to get a power position, and they do a great job of spraying him off that layer, making him get to his teammate. Now, Deyy unfortunately has bad aim right there and ends up not getting that off. He does a great job. This is still a wide pinch as opposed to a tight pinch. And he gets a 45 crack. He cracks this opponent right here. And then the other does a great job, and then he just ends up charging that particular opponent, and that is a GG's. We're going to now skip over to the end, obviously. There's not going to be a ton of keying in these finals, or in these finals and semifinals. It's going to be all late game frags, eliminations, etc. Alright, we're going to be taking a look. It looks like we are in 5th. This is technically 43 players alive, so a good significant amount of players still left. Gets a free elimination off a guy bouncing out in the open, and you'll take that. Just good awareness, getting good picks. Let's kind of take a look. We're just going to kind of watch this all the way through. I feel like this is the best way to kind of bottom view this. Use of the car, even though that it's 1 HP. Or it seems like it's 1 HP. But they use it for a protective rotate. They end up doing a great job of doing that to save some materials. And they get in pretty easily. So, just a good car rotation. This allows them to get into 5th pretty easily. Deyy is going to be 433. Clix is going to be sitting at only 131 builds. We don't get to see the breakdown for some reason. The recognition of kids coming in. They're going to sit back and hold here. But let's just kind of speed this up just a tad bit until we kind of get into... I'll play all the moving rounds through. So once... I believe actually Deyy does end up getting another elimination here pretty quickly. Let's see what ends up happening here. Yes, he does. I believe what they're going to do is drop this opponent down. Beautiful. That's exactly what they do. That's textbook teamwork and recognition of where that opponent is. Notice also carrying the harpoon, I'm assuming to get materials. That's pretty standard in these high scrum lobbies. Good recognition that opponent was there. Shambles, teamwork, one spring through, one harpooning, the other getting piece control, and then turning it into a nice easy 2v1. They get a fortunate zone here to see Clix. Not liking the layer that they are on. Kind of gets... He ends up creating a nice tarp through. Using all those extra max he got from that opponent. I love that as well. It gets them more ahead. They use their refresh right there. And now they are very far ahead. And let's just take a look at how they kind of get through with these rotations. They stay ahead. What mobility do they use? Still using all of that extra wood right there. I love that. Maximizing their refresh. It's really smart. Deyy must have solved something there. Deyy's doing a great job of leading. I'm actually surprised. I feel like Clix would be the one that would lead. But they're hugging that side of zone. Good layer switch. Even taking stone to get into a nice, fresh, clear layer. These rotations are excellent right now. Let's just kind of switch over to Deyy's POV. Yeah, now Clix is taking over. Much surprising. Yeah, there Deyy gave him some max. Do a good job of getting ahead. So they're spraying this duo off their lair because they want lair control. What they're hoping for is to get this lair up their duo, and unfortunately it ended up not working, but they do get a 50 crack. And so what does Clix do? Immediately changes his lair. And then immediately drop low. We don't have the highest material count. Beautiful recognition. Same side play. Beautiful harpoon play right there. I don't believe they ended up getting that frag, but I ended up believing they obviously made the mats. They had already previously built the spates. They decided to drop to ulti. It's a little bit laggy, but end up refarming all this brick. Clix ends up creating a second space ahead. Ends up splitting up some brick. Deyy was sitting 21 builds. That bouncer unfortunately didn't work. My god, Deyy is nasty. How does that feel? And how did Deyy win that 2v1, right? We're gonna take a look at that because that is special right there, right? That is all skill. That is just a horrible bad luck 50-50 into a box. You know what wins that fight for him? It's gonna be movement. You can say aim assist all you want, movement makes it. He gets stupid. Immediately crouches, ducks. Is taking barely any damage and his aim with it. Look at it. He's ducking back and forth, side to side, while blocking off those opponents from the side, and ends up picking 2 huge frags. He's going to get a significant amount of mats, and he's coming out there with, at least having some shield when he should have died. That's really impressive. Excellent layer switch as well. We're going to watch that full speed. Good. Great stuff from Deyy right here. And then he gets back to Clix, which is even more impressive. An insane 1v2 in the middle of a rotation of his third party. That is why Deyy is one of the best up-and-coming controllable players. Beautiful job right here. Sees his opponent kind of sitting scuffed on low. He takes out Wavy Jacob right there at West player. Clix is just kind of chilling ahead. And now Deyy splitting all of his refresh. Spoils. Stacked zone. And now Dey's getting ahead early. Decides to go back down. And they're playing ultimate low. Clix ends up taking all of the heals. Beautiful. Great job. Again, another drop-down combo drop-down. So important for refreshing in late games. Does a great job of that thus far. I believe Clix just ends up dominating that opponent as well. We're going to take a look at his POV because it appears he ends up doing what Clix does. When the game is on the line, he ends up doing the absolute best for his team. Let's just take a look how he plays out this particular endgame in terms of getting these stacked frags. Such good awareness right here. Beautiful. Drops them down together. Gets another refresh. So those mats to get ahead. Oh my god, that was nasty. Gets the wall cone slide. Beautiful stuff right there. Continue to drop to low. I love this spam building cones to control all of this space so no one has double edits on them. Still has around 50 mats to play with. Illis and Slack on high. Unfortunately with them only RPG, this is going to be extremely difficult. I believe Deyy ends up probably getting hit by an RPG and dying to Storm would be my best guess. And this is almost an impossible situation. Even with how clutch Clix is as a player, there's almost literally nothing he can do. Illis ends up going down, and then it goes to a heal off. Unfortunately, they end up losing that heal up, but Clix does a great job of using his mats to protect from the RPG. I'm assuming that they ran out of ammo, but the star of that particular endgame was Deyy. That 1v2 in the box probably saved the entire match for them. Deyy 1v2ing that duo in the box, getting those mats, and then having the mechanical skill and the knowledge to get back to Clix to split mats. They did an excellent job as well as dropping down opponents and eliminating them using the harpoon, catching opponents on layers above them when they played on lower level layers, dropping them down, piece controlling, killing them quickly, and then Clix, again, you saw very smartly using one of those refreshes to extend a ton of wood in that late game, getting them all the way from kind of mid zone to front of zone using those refreshes. And then you saw Clix getting that preemptive piece control as well. Just again, excellent endgame knowledge, just calm, cool, collected Clix in the clutch, and Deyy clutching up huge with that 1v2 in the box, attributed to that excellent movement. Overall, the biggest thing from semis, what allowed this duo to succeed was their ability to get refreshes by understanding on how to drop opponents down and when to go for those particular plays, and doing that as a team. When you drop a solo down as a duo, it is possible there's going to be trade damage, and there was in that situation with Deyy, but it didn't matter because Clix was there as well. Executing those plays is going to be the key that's going to get you to ninth zone and helos in semifinals, picking off those low ground opponents and then dropping down those opponents that might be on better layers than you are, just a little bit above. I wouldn't say better layers, but dropping those opponents are usually going to net you more materials and results than shambles low ground players. For the most part, sometimes, again, you're going to get blessed with a low ground player that has a good amount of mats. However, most of the time, if they're in a mid layer, they've been building, they're pretty healthy on materials, them getting dropped down is going to really net you a significant reward, and you saw that in this particular gameplay. But let's just jump into the best game from finals, guys. Alright guys, as you can see on the screen, we have Deyy's POV in the finals. This is going to be their last game of the tournament. They're going to clutch up, get a 12 kill second place performance, which allows them to pretty much run away with the tournament. It was pretty close up until this last particular game, but this game they clutch up, get an insane amount of points, and end up winning the tournament by a significant margin with an insanely clutch last game of the tournament. And Deyy is going to absolutely pop off. We're going to take a look at all of the kills, and obviously we're going to watch the end game through and how they are absolutely dominating in one of the best lobbies in the world, DreamHack being incredibly competitive. So this is Fortnite at the highest caliber, the best players in the world all meeting on one server. So you may be wondering why they're playing so aggressively right here. It's pretty simple. They're low on Storm Surge, 42 below. So they're unfortunately gonna have to kind of play aggressive on this particular team. This team ends up running away, so they don't want to give up that position. Let's see what they ended up doing. They end up third-partying this particular fight. Beautiful. This is actually really, really good. I think all they want is that loot. And they're going to bully them off, and they're going to be completely fine with that. And that other opponent is going to disengage. Just great recognition from Deyy right there. Getting in that third-party situation. There's nothing to talk about other than awareness. Smart. Recognizing there's a third-party situation to be had. And that's fortunate, right? That probably that team was low on Surge, needed to jump in, and so Deyy kind of capitalizes on that, and he ends up getting a couple of frags out of it. They end up getting a ton of materials to play with, and they get some Surge. So overall, extremely good. Looks like they're going to pick up another kill right here. They realize that this guy is probably a solo since one was knocked, and they ended up finishing the other team. It's actually going to be Keys. They kind of bully him off. So it looks like Deyy is going to find a way to pick him off here. That's exactly what ends up happening. Fortunately, Keys gets on a scuff flare. Do a good job of spraying through. Let's see if we can get a kind of Clix's POV here. What ends up happening here, we kind of already saw this earlier, but he gets that finish right there. That's actually not what I thought it was, but okay, they kind of end up spraying through and getting that elimination. Let's kind of move on over into, I guess what you would say, kind of late game. Let's just take a look. We're gonna take a light right before this knock. This is definitely considered Endgame. But let's just kind of take a look. Again, we'll go from moving zones. We'll see him probably get an elimination on a team, or not an elimination on a team, but an elimination on opponent rotating or bouncing. This is pretty typical. More than likely is going to not get in a particular box fight. I don't know why it keeps on lagging at the particular moment. 100% correct. They're going to probably just get a team that's unfortunately caught out on edge. That's exactly what ends up happening. That's exactly what ends up happening. Good job from, again, Deyy, recognizing that's the second time that we've seen when fifth zone is coming in. Good recognition of teams rotating and late getting punished, and that's exactly what ends up happening. It gets him another elimination and another Surge, and again in a game where it was pretty tight up until this last game. This is really, really good. We're gonna triple spray right here, but ends up not being an issue. Alright, let's kind of skip in to this end game. And then we're going to play this all through moving zones at normal speed. A couple more seconds here, and then Looks like they found a refresh. At some point they have tons of materials to play with. They also get a favorable zone. Kind of used the mats to extend upwards thus far, and zone is now moving. You're going to see Clix leading the way. No surprise there. Deyy kind of carrying right now with 4 eliminations. I love that. It kind of makes a pre-box and then bouncer down ahead. They get on a very good layer as well. Playing ahead with a bouncer. Good utilization of movement from this duo. Beautiful. Another good layer switch. Notice how they're controlling a ton of space. There's no teams. One, they're again hugging that dead side of Storm. No one, they don't even have to worry about blocking this back left side. Fortunately, again, we have some replay lag. We heard a crack with a shotgun, but don't exactly who or how much it was for. Let's see. Beautiful. A guy just kind of drops in. Very nice. Good box right there from Clix. And then again, what you're seeing, another great refresh. And getting to that left side. Beautiful. Hugging off zone, creating a ton of space. I see that they like to play low. That's another thing that we can talk about. This duo is very comfortable on low ground. Likes playing on lower level layers and dropping opponents down. Keep on dropping down low, and again they're going down de-elevation. It makes sense. Clix is kind of, again, you see the kind of more the support, kind of the, obviously the more of just keyboard and mouse tarping is just a tad bit easier mechanic wise. Again, another attempt to drop down, and this time they succeed. They end up getting a pickup on Rex right there, dropping him down again, and that's kind of what I think they really like doing. The slow layer, beautiful, good recognition, gets an elimination there on Booga as well, who shambles low ground. Again, staying on this layer, Clix using his mad tarping ahead, which allows him to get a big off. So what ends up happening here, Deyy just ends up kind of taking over a tad bit. Not a lot of mats, even with all the eliminations that he secured. I believe he's given most of his materials to Clix. They're on a very good layer. We have again some replay lag. Looks like they get a fairly decent zone. Clix again tarping ahead. You can see the designated role. Beautiful again. Great job right there. Good recognition from Clix as well to kind of spray through. Right there, get that floor, make sure that they don't get edited on by that person's duo partner. And gets another body. We see it consistent. Same thing from semis. Implementing just dropping down opponents on low level layers. Pretty much on ultimate low. Clix gets a little bit over its deck. Oh my goodness. Oh my good god, bro. Deyy is absolutely fragging right now. Clix playing just the support tarpers type role, being the quarterback. Unfortunately, we see some replay lag. I don't know exactly what ended up happening. I think Clix ends up picking that elimination. Yay! All right, we'll go take a look at Clix's POV. We need to kind of also just take a look at just some of the... Let's just take a look at some of the stuff he does as well. You're going to notice him being kind of the quarterback. 300 mats. Beautiful. He ends up getting that elimination now, which I was not aware of. But again, refresh didn't yield him too much. A little bit of wood. I love that little floor blocks right there that prevents them kind of from getting chopped down. Wards enemies from going in that box from trying to drop down play on them. Getting ahead right here. And this is where Deyy is insane. Gets that front wall. Beautiful. This is kind of even a pinch and lane game. God, such awareness from Deyy, too, that everyone was funneling in right there. Oh, apologize. I don't know how I lost. Don't know how I lost where I was going. Let's go back to Clix. Sorry. Apologize. Alright, we'll go back to Deyy. So right now, a 10-kill game for Deyy in the final clutch performance. Deyy having the possibility to win this heal off as well. Actually ends up giving Clix all of the heals. I don't know what ended up happening to Clix, but they were attempting to go for a heal off play and Deyy was going to go up and distract, but let's just take a look at what ended up happening there to Clix, because he ended up dropping all of his heals to Clix. Clix had 2 med kits and they end up kind of just dropping on their shield. Let's see what ends up happening here. Oh, it didn't work. Oh my goodness gracious. You know, he would have won that game if he got that kit off. That was such a smart attempt. I'm curious as to why that didn't get off. That should have definitely gotten off. That is absolutely wild to me. I just want to take a look at how he didn't get that clit off. Oh my goodness. That's so tough. That's so unfortunate. That's such a smart attempt at play. Basically, Deyy go up, get some chip damage, distract. But I don't know if he started it a second too late or what. And it ended up not giving to him. It didn't matter. They had such a frag out game from Deyy. GG's. And it was much of the same in semis as it was from finals. Clix, again, taking more of the lead tarper role in that finals match is what I would definitely expect. Definitely going to be easier mechanically to control your piece placement when you have your full arm to move and place builds. Clix, again, great quarterbacking, leading them on dead side, and then just the same thing that we saw, playing lower levels and then dropping opponents down into boxes and getting quick refreshes. It did not change the formula, did not change from semifinals to finals. They played the exact same way. We saw Deyy lead a little bit more in that semifinals match, but for the most part, when it was all on the line, Deyy incredibly clutch, good recognitions of getting frags in the mid game when they were low on surge. Again, Deyy throughout this entire tournament was incredibly clutch. We saw it in that particular game with the 1v2 in the box and then the wherewithal to get up and out mechanics, get back to Clix. They end up stretching that game into a double-digit kill and top 3 performance. This game, same thing. They get another double-digit kill performance in the last game of the tournament, which is incredible. But it was just an incredible performance for Deyy, and it is someone that you definitely need to have on your radar as an up-and-coming top-tier pro. I'm excited to see how he does in trio FNCS if he is able to find a trio. Again, he was part of, I believe, Mirror, Reverse, and Deyy, trio FNCS winner, so incredibly skilled. Just got signed to Endless, or VS Bandits as they were formerly recently, so congratulations to him. But we saw his clutch factor throughout, getting those 3 eliminations. They kind of created a in-storm play pinch, and he was confident to do that because he had the slurp fish, obviously, and he could take storm a little bit. One gets on Clix's wall, they kind of trade damage, and then these kids just funnel in for him, and Deyy just basically one-tacks them all because they're all weak from Storm. Just a huge clutch performance in the final match. It was just mind-blowing to watch, and the formula did not change. Just overall, to talk about in the first opens match, the biggest thing that I saw, especially from Deyy, was just not over-committing as a solo, and then just creating pinches, close, tight-knit pinches from semis and finals. The gameplay was incredibly different. When their pinches were a little bit more wide, and when they needed eliminations and refreshes. What did they do? They played a low layer, they sprayed through or harpooned, and they caught several opponents down, and Clix led the way with top tier mechanics, creating a ton of space, and Deyy kind of just chilling in the back, maybe looking for refreshes or calling for when they can come together and get and drop down an opponent. That was evident throughout in their best games from this tournament. But overall, congratulations to Deyy and Clix on their incredible tournament run, and again, DreamHack champions. Well guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope that you did enjoy. If you did, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. But I hope I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.